Hey, what's up? Figured I'd make a little video on this radio project I've been fooling with. This is the AM tuner out of a Stromberg-Carlson 535 PS. This big thing is the antenna that goes with it. That's the amplifier for it. And the FM chassis is that guy right there. I'm not going to restore the FM chassis because it's the pre-war FM, which ran between 42 and 50 megahertz. In 1946 or 47, they moved it to the modern 88 to 108. So even if I went through all the trouble to overhaul that, nothing transmits here. So no point. So what I thought was a better use of my time, so this does something, I cobbled this together. This is a cheap eBay Bluetooth module that costs about $2, an LM 7805. There's a diode in here, which you probably can't really see, right about there. Capacitor, that's a DC blocking cap for the output, because the output's at like 1.5 volt DC plus the AC. So I've got a pair of resistors in there to make it mono. This is output to the FM cable. This just runs off the filament supply, a little bit of filtering, and this knocks it down to the 5 volts that guy needs. And it does a really good job of cleaning up the supply. So here's the AM. Working out of the original speaker, sitting down there on the floor in a box. Christmas music, because, you know, it's that time of year. And it's AM. That's the only music you get. Everything else is sports or politics or whatever other garbage that I'm not interested in listening to. So this is the Bluetooth copyright-free stuff that I'm streaming off my old phone. Got pretty decent volume. It should sound a lot better once it's actually in the cabinet and there's a baffle around that thing. But so far, not too bad. I'm not going to say this is my finest work ever. The caps have been replaced. I left them in there. There's a one on this one here, right there. They're not hooked up. The electrolytics have been replaced. All the paper caps have been changed. There's a pile of them somewhere over here on the bench. All three bands, the shortwave bands. So you get AM here. This is the extended AM, runs through about here. Nothing really transmits here, but it does work. And shortwave, you get about 5.5 to 18.5. It's not a fantastic shortwave set, but it does pull in a bunch of stuff. The AM works really well. This tube here, the 6SC7, was dead when I got it. And that one, that's a 6SK7, it's the RF amp. That was also dead when I got it. So, one I bought, that one I had. So, and the I-tube was also completely dead. This is not the right I-tube, it's a 6E5, and it should be a 6J5. So this closes too soon. But the original one was completely dead, no glow at all. This one's a little on the tired side. It looks better without the glaring light on it, but it's not too bad. It's good enough for where it needs to go. So once I get this back in the cabinet, I'll make another update, I suppose. I have the grill cloth to put in it. And basically, I just need to haul all the parts back to the cabinet and put everything back together. And this thing is really kind of a pain in the butt, because the FM chassis sits on top of it. There's another tuner string that runs from the FM chassis down to there. You can see that's new dial string. That string broke. This string broke. The third one that runs to the FM broke, and I don't think I'm going to restring that. The antenna, actually, you can't really see it too well. There's a pulley here. This mounts on a pivot, and there's another shaft that sits here. When it's in the chassis, this sits flat. It hangs, vertical. So when you open it, you're looking down at this. And that will the shaft that sits here pulls a string and it rotates this guy. So I'm gonna have to restring that as well. You have to undo all this to get it apart. It's a real pain in the neck. This mounts to a wooden base, which is over there. And you have to pull this whole thing down in one big heavy lump. The amplifier was not mounted in the unit when I got it. I'm not sure where that goes exactly. It's somewhere in the bottom. I have to look for the holes. The hardware is missing, of course, so I'm going to have to buy some screws. This is supposed to have an acoustic labyrinth, which is a big cardboard box that sits around the back of that, and it's got a bunch of, passages back and forth in it, kind of like a Bose wave radio. That's missing. Someone had put some other speaker in it, had tapped off of that, because that's where the original's where it's got the field coil on it. So they just tapped off of that and run this Jensen coax deal. So I don't know what they were doing, but I'm just going to put it back stock. So anyway, so once I get it back together, I will make an update, hopefully with it in its proper home. But that's not too bad. That's the treble control there. The bass control is laying back there in a pile of stuff. The way this chassis mounts in here is kind of weird, because you got the 4 controls mounted to the chassis, and a knob here and a knob here that both just kind of, they attach to the cabinet up above this thing. So it's fun. Alrighty, everybody, have fun.